Alrighty, we got something really cool here, something I've been wanting to do for a very long time. I am not an NFL draft expert by any stretch of the imagination, but what I am is a guy who watches a lot of college football. And I'm also an X's and O's guy over a Jimmy and Joe's guy. Granted, if we want to sit here and name players, we can sit here and name players all day. If you watch Governor of College Football, I can't do it. But my wheelhouse is in X's and O's, and I have a special place in my heart for the air raid. I love the offense. Me and my dog CFB Moon created a 200 play playbook with the air raid that we're not even finished with. I think we want to go for another 100 more plays. As we've learned, there's different systems in the air raid, but Jake Spavital is the offensive coordinator at Baylor, and the things that he trusts Sawyer Robertson with, the quarterbacks that we expected to be the elite quarterbacks heading into this year, the Garrett Nussmeyers, the K. Klubniks. I think we start to see Drew Allers, another one of those guys that we start to see don't have full trust from their head coaches and or offensive coordinators. That's not the same thing in Baylor. In Waco, Sawyer Robertson has all the trust in the world. So we're going to really break down this film. You guys sit back, relax, grab you some popcorn, and I'm going to explain why I believe that Sawyer Robertson is quarterback one headed into the 2026 draft. I think this kid can make every throw. I think he's the best slot fade thrower in the country that's either at the collegiate level or the NFL level, and he processes a lot of information in a short period of time, and he's more dual threat than you think. I think he's a guy that, because of the nuance of college, your sacks count against your rushing yards. At the NFL level, he will run for more yards than people will probably anticipate him for. So let's get right into it. We're going to look into this first play. This is the air raid. This is spread double flex. We got a 66, and I'll explain what a 66 is, and I'll kind of also break down why this variation of the 66 is different than the ones that I'm used to. So you got your outside receivers here, right? So you see this furthest outside receiver, who, depending on the system, and spread double flex, typically you have your X on the slot. So this will probably be your Z wide receiver. You just got him doing a simple 5-yard hitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom, hitch. Face the quarterback. You want to see who's Y in this formation. He's going to do a slot fade. Show inside, break outside, up the sidelines. That's all you're going to see Michael Trigg doing this formation. Same thing on this side. This outside receiver is going to do a 5-yard hitch. Boom. You're going to see a slot fade out here. What's interesting to me about this play, and this play particularly, is the fact what they do with F. And then the air raid, your F is your running back. And typically what happens with F on this play is it's like a 5-yard hitch option route. So you'll see them run out, kind of sneak through these linemen here, and then at the 5-yard marker, they'll decide if they want to go left or right? That's typically what we see in this. But what they decide to do with them on this route is, instead of doing this 5-yard hitch, which is what's typical, what Jake Spavital did was like, well, the middle of the field should be wide open. Why don't you run a seam route? And then that's what you get out of this play. And then what you see is a three progression read out of Sawyer Robertson in this play. So typically, the defense will determine what side of the field you want to look to. Sawyer Robertson on this play, as you will see in a second, is going to decide to look to the right side of the field. So of course he's going to look outside the inside. That's the way that the 66 works in the spread double flex. So he's going to look to his outside receiver on the hitch. He's going to look to the side fade. Didn't like that. So typically it didn't matter what side of the field he went on. Even if he went on the left side of the field in this play, and you look at this hitch, you go outside the inside in this progression. So if he looked at the hitch and then boom, look to the inside route for the slot fade, it'll still been 1 here, 2 here to 3. That'd have been your progression read. And I'm sorry, I'm using a mouse. It's very difficult to write the number 3. So if it's right side, it's the same thing. It'll been 1 here, 2 here, 3 here. So it's a lot of information as a quarterback you have to process in a short period of time. All right, what defense are they in? Are they giving me a look I like? And how quickly should I get through my progressions, right? You have to process so much information, and keep in mind that you're being rushed at this time. So I showed you enough on the whiteboard. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. So now I'm going to actually show you the play. And you guys just sit back and watch this. And this is brilliant. And hopefully you understood everything I was saying as far as the spread double flex 66. So let's get into it. So this is all 22 film, by the way. I'm in a Patreon, which is outstanding. So you'll see it right here. Boom. First progression, second progression. We had the third progression. Look at the throw. Look at the throw. DB had his hands all on Bryson Washington, who's the F in this route, and Sawyer Robertson just threw a beautiful ball. A flag honestly could have been thrown here. Look at this. That's just a great throw. Touchdown, great catch, great throw. Sawyer Robertson is legit. And this is just the first play, and I'm just telling you guys why he's legit after the first play and the first play alone. So let's go ahead and look at this second play. We'll look at this first play one more time after we get into the second play. That spread double 66. Like I said, I have to add a variation of that to my playbook, because in my playbook, we don't have that F route on the seam at all. It's always the hitch, and you pick which side you want to go to. But the seam is open. You know, if they're playing man defense, that seam is definitely open. So love this play. Shout out to Jake Spavital, who's offensive coordinator at Baylor. That's just a great play call right there. So let's get into the second play. And the way I like to do it, if you figured it out already, I like to show you a screenshot. We do some drawing on a screenshot. I'm no artiste by any stretch of the imagination, but you can get what I'm talking about. So I like to show you the screenshot first, then we get into the film. So let's look into the second screenshot. Let's pull that up. Boom. So we're going to get to this. Sorry that it's kind of blurry. It's difficult when I can't take a direct photo from the video, so I got to put it in somewhere and then kind of get a screenshot for it. So let me get my next whiteboard up here so we can get into it and get active. And actually, I'm going to put a few more up here so we're not going to waste a bunch of time. Cover all of these up. All right, here we go. So now we have the next formation, and once again we in spread double flex, 11 personnel. This is no surprise if you watch Baylor. Like I said, it's no surprise at all, and it's just beautiful things to see when you see an offense and you like, yo, they just keep getting in this formation, but how do we plan on stopping this formation, right? So you'll see H, who's right here on that 8-yard bench route. Is just a come back to the bench. That's all the bench route is. And this is H. Hopefully we won't see any more weird artifacts. You're going to see X right here run a 3-yard slant. So that's 1, 2, 3 in slant. If it's versus zone, he continues across the field. Quarterback throws to an area. If it's man, he finds the first hole. So a lot of times that's why you'll be like, what does that mean? And sometimes you'll see a couple of them, first or second hole in the defense, and then the quarterback will throw to the numbers. Now we're going to move here to Y, who's Mike Trigg, who's playing outstanding this year, and he's definitely about to make himself some money. He's on an 8-yard corner. A lot of times you'll see in the air raid system 8-yard corners or 8-yard post. 5, 6, 7. We somewhere around here. He'll run his corner. And then last but certainly not least, we'll see Z right here. So this is just so you guys kind of know what I'm talking about, because I don't want to confuse everybody. This is the running back in that backfield. We'll call him the F. And then he's going to run a hitch. 5-yard hitch. Boom. So that's what we got. H on a bench route. X on a 3-yard slant versus man. Continue across the field. We're going to throw to an area. If you're Sawyer Robertson, if it's zone, find a hole in the zone. And then the quarterback will find a way to protect you. Y is going to do that 8-yard corner. And then over here, Z is going to do a 5-yard hitch. So that's what we're looking at. And this is what I'm looking at when I'm looking at film. I'm going to keep watching the play until I figure out what play it is. And a lot of times, these concepts explain themselves. So this is what we're looking at right here. So let me get this scribble off the board so you guys aren't confused. So let's remove that. Oh, man, this might have been, I'm not sure which one it was. Is it this one? All right. So we're going to remove that off the field. And then now we're going to actually take a look at play number 2. So let's take a look at it. So this is play number 2. I just did everything for you. I want you guys to see what happens here. That's a beautiful throw. That's an absolute beautiful throw. It's a beautiful throw for a couple of reasons. This was another one. Sawyer Robertson made 3 progression reads. Look at him. He's moving. Boom. And what does he do? He throws to the numbers. And what does the wide receiver do? He finds a hole in the zone. So that's why when we tell you, if it's man, go ahead and run that thing all across the field. If you know what I'm saying, if it's a slant. You identify that a zone, find that hole, boom. First hole you found, quarterback hits you, but he throws it to you to protect you as well. This is outstanding football. This is elite football right here. This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about a system that works really well and a quarterback who wants to protect his wide receiver and also making the reads, and him and the wide receiver, it's like a mental telepathy. He knows exactly what's going to happen. This is brilliant football. Got through his reads, went through 3 reads that fast. I think his last read wouldn't even have been that bench route. The bench route is almost like a pull route. I think it would have been F to that check swing in the corner. This is impressive. Not a lot of yards, because this isn't what film study is about. It's about watching how fast a quarterback can process. How fast can these wide receivers process too? Because they got a lot to process as well. Is he in man? Is he in zone? Should I keep running? Now I'm gonna find a hole. I know they in zone. Boom. Yep. We good. First down. It's not about always big plays, highlight plays, touchdown plays. It's about being able to identify, attain information, gain as much intel as possible, identify, and let's make precision plays happen. So let's get into this next play. Beautiful. 2 plays so far. You guys, I know the people who love this type of stuff is getting excited. They're like, okay, governor knows what he's talking about. Sawyer Robertson is dealing right now. And it's truly exciting. So let's get into this third screenshot of the third play we're going to talk about. Let me undo that. Boom. We're here. So this is the third screenshot. Like I said earlier, my apologies for the screenshot not being crystal clear. But we work with what we work with. Y'all already know how I go. So this third play is a stick concept. It's a variation of the stick concept. And I know I'm going to get somebody in the comment section to say that's not a stick concept. It is a variation of the stick concept. You don't believe that this is a variation of the stick concept. If you are able, I can't even name the name of the company that I got the 2017 Oklahoma Sooners playbook from. That was Lincoln Riley's playbook, by the way. You will see this play. It's in a different formation, but this is a stick concept. Do not argue with me. Argue with me if you want to. Argue with a wall for all I care. So this is spread double flex. It's a stick route. So we have quarterback. Next to the quarterback is the F. That's the running back, of course. Went over this last time, but in the spread double flex, I don't want you guys to get confused because you can be like, well, X is moving around. This is going on, but this is spread double flex. We got Y here and Z here. So this is spread double flex. So what you're going to see on this route, like I said, it's a stick route. So we got a lot of things going on. So we're going to have H right here do a post hook. So that's 8 yards. Ignore that little weird artifact. 8 yards, boom, show your numbers. Whether that's man or zone, you're throwing your numbers. You just got to be careful versus man, right? So we're going to see X, which should be a 3-yard slant. But in some ways, it looked like it could have possibly been on a slot fade. And you'll see what I'm talking about when the film comes on. But he gets rerouted. But boom. I think that's where he wanted to go. Now we'll see Y on the slot fade. And Trig runs this. That's their tight end. Runs this very well. You see it with the inside release. And then boom. They knew exactly where I was going. How cool. And then, of course, you got Z on a 5-yard hitch. And Z is right here like you guys see. It'll be on a 5-yard hitch. Boom. Find some area. Quarterback will find a way to throw him the ball. And Hal Mummy, who's the originator of this air raid offense, Mike Leach is also coined as one of the originators. He has a famous quote that I think people need to know about the air raid and why it's successful. And that quote is to throw the ball short as many times as possible to people who can score as many times as possible. And Josh Cameron is one of those guys, and we see him identified as a Z in this play. And the fact that this hitch turns into what it turns into, I'm going to show you guys in a second. Let me go ahead and get this off of the screen, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you this guy, you guys to play right now. Boom. We out of there. What Hal Mummy just said, we are out of there. That's what it's about right there. Throwing the ball short as many times as possible to people who can score. Boom. This is a one read throw. Let's go get some money. That's why you draft a guy like Josh Cameron. He's built like a running back, to be honest with you. He's just 6'2". Amazing play by Sawyer Robertson. Amazing play by Josh Cameron. He identified where he wanted to go. First progression read. Sometimes football is simple. Make your first progression read. Because this honestly could have been a success rate play, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But just first progression, throwable ball, catchable ball. Boom. Here we go. Get right to it. Make a move, Josh Cameron. Maybe one more. Turn on the Jets. Beautiful football right there. Outstanding football right there. So let's go ahead and get into this next screenshot for play 4. Let's go ahead and get into that right now. So this is the screenshot for play 4. A lot of great stuff is happening here, and I can't wait to break this down for you. So let me pull up another whiteboard for you all. If I can get this mic cord out of my way. Let's pull up another whiteboard. Let's break this thing down so beautifully as we always do. So this is a spread. It's not a spread double flex, just a regular spread. That's what it is. Can be constituted as a spread double flex as well, but I just think this is a spread. But like I said, it's based on what your playbook calls it. Somebody else's playbook may call it something else. the vernacular is the same as far as the concepts in the route tree, but what you may call a formation may be a little bit different. So that's just what I want to warn everybody. And those who know, they're like, yeah, Governor's right. Everything's just called a little bit different. So another 11 personnel type of play, and that's just what they've been doing. Just a lot of 11 personnel. And this play is one of those plays that will go unnoticed by most. Right? This is a third down play. They didn't even pick up the first down. I think that's the important thing to know. And also, they could have went for it on fourth down that next play, but they got a false start. So many people will miss this play, right? And you guys will probably look at this as a wasted drive. But my philosophy as it pertains to football is the drive should always end in a kick. Whether it's point after touchdown, which is the thing you want first, field goal, right, which is the thing you want second, or punt, which is the thing you want third. But nonetheless, we saw something here really beautiful. And this is a part of the 95 series in the air raid playbook. 11 personnel. This is spread formation. And it's pretty much a 95 is a crosser. And you just got to figure out who's on a crosser. Typically, 95 wide cross. Everybody thinks of the tight end crossing. Here, it's a little bit different. So we got X on a post hook. So we'll put X on this post hook. Did I clear the whiteboard? Yeah, I did. X right here. 8 yards, boom, post hook. And sometimes it could be a post hook, but other times it was supposed to be a post, but they just went and found that first hold in the zone that we talked about a little bit earlier. So now we have Y, Mike Trigg on a 5-yard out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He might have took it to about 6. So that's what H is right there. Then we have H. I'm sorry. This is Y right here. The play is going to H. Forgive me. We have H right here. He's doing the crosser. Typically, it's a 12-yard crosser. Just depend whose system it is. So he's on the crosser. This is H right here. And then finally, we have Z on the post hook as well. I shouldn't have said finally. And then we're going to have a last but not least. He's on his post hook. And then here, we got a check swing from the F, who's Bryson Washington. So that's the play out right there. And that's typical for any 95, but 95 just means somebody's crossing. So you can have a 95 Y cross, 95, which is most popular, H cross. If you're in spread double flex, you can even have a 95 X cross if he's in the slot, right? So that's what we're looking at for this play. So let's get into it and see what the actual play looks like. So move the play art. Let's get into the play. And the beautiful thing about this play for me was, look at how many progressions Sawyer Robertson gets to on this play. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Because when you look at it, when Cam Newton first got in the NFL, I believe for him, it was like he had one side of the field to look at. So most of the time, it's 2 progression takeoff. A lot of times, they run a flood concept, and he's able to look to the right side of the field. He probably get the 3 and run, but sometimes it's probably 2 and run. But this is beautiful. 1, 2, 3, 4. Isn't that beautiful? So we saw the Y on the 5-yard out. He went there first, then the post hook, right? Then to the crosser from H. And then he didn't even look at the opposite post hook, which I think is just a pull route, because you do have a lot of pull route. 1, 2, 3, boom, check down 4. He almost got a first down on this play, but it's a play that so many people unnoticed because it didn't pick up a first down. West Virginia sideline is happy, but this is brilliant football. Let's watch it one last time. This is absolute great football. They're checking something at the line. He's looking to the sideline. Hit the play in. Like I said, we know it's a 95. Boom. 1, 2, 3, 4. To casuals, that's just a basic play. But to us who really love football, this is just an outstanding play. And out of all the plays, play that got the least amount of yards, this is my favorite play by far that I've seen. Just because how quickly he got through his progressions. Boom. You don't have a lot of time. Some quarterbacks would have tried to force that and ended up in an interception. Get a check down, because how mommy philosophy is, throw as short as possible to people who can score. That's what the philosophy is. The system a lot of times sometimes dictate the success of a quarterback. The air raid is a really quarterback friendly system. For those of y'all who don't know, it's an extremely quarterback-friendly system. But this play, like I said, we're going to probably spend the longest on this play just because how quickly he got through his progressions and he made the right read. It's what the defense was allowed. Outstanding defense by West Virginia here. And it almost led into a first down. If they didn't call, I believe the very next play they got into Wildcat, they could have got the first down. They just had a false start. Outstanding football right here. This is what it's all about. Like, I know some of you guys are watching this right now and say, yeah, this is truly what it's all about. So now we're going to go to the play that I think everybody's going to love. It's a big play. It's a shot play. Just beautiful football. So let's get to it. Alrighty. So here we got something really interesting. It's a really great play. 11 personnel. And that's really all we've seen today. For the most part, is 11 personnel. So let's get into it. So it's pretty much all curls here. Boom. You're going to curl here. You're going to curl here. And then we got a seam shot. This seam, it's not a post. I know I drew it like a post, but it's a seam. We also do got a little check swing here. The seam is for cover 2 buster and a cover 3 buster, but it has to be a layer throw if it's going to be a cover 3 buster. This is when you identify what the defense is in, and all of these people who are running these routes know find a hole in the zone, and Sawyer Robertson is just going to process as much as possible. But if you identify they in cover 3 or cover 2, you have an opportunity for a shot play. Sawyer Robertson, who can make every throw, identify that this is a cover 3, and so what we ended up getting was a beautiful shot play and a layered throw, and a throw a lot of you guys are going to like. This is big league stuff, and this is why I swear up and down that this kid is QB1 2026 draft. He's QB1 2026. And I don't know what that number looked like, but it's good. Like, I'm drawing with my mouse. Like, leave me alone, dog. But QB1, the 2026 Sawyer Robertson. Absolutely. Let's get to the play. First, let's get this crap off the screen. And then let's get to this play right here. Beautiful. Let's look at it again. And I love when they show the reverse angle or the angle like you playing 2K. That's just a beautiful thrown ball. Safety can't get to it. Corner's not going to get through it in time. The anticipation on the throw was outstanding. Just look at this. This is timing. This is precision. This is what people say layer throws. It's layer throws. Neither one of you are going to get to it. The wide receiver don't got to break his route at all. Don't got to make any adjustments. Just run your route. I'm going to throw the ball there. That's a dot throw. That's absolutely a dot throw. Sawyer Robertson, QB1 of 2026 class. I hope you guys enjoyed this film. I'm going to start doing a lot more film breakdowns just because I love the position. And it won't just be of quarterback. Sometimes we could be looking at wide receivers. Sometimes we can even look at offensive linemen. But the film never lies. I promise you it don't. When you start looking at it and you're not just looking for highlights, but you're just looking at film and you just going through series by series and seeing how they building, this play was phenomenal. As I always like to say, there are no more victories in the sport that survive in advance. That's why college football has the greatest regular season. And until next time, you all take care. Governor of college football, we're going to recap ACC.
Hey, that's
Two
CJ
great
on
defensive
that
minds. They have to be better on that side of the ball.